The morning the Obsidian Spire opened its gates, 300 hunters showed up in ranked gear, glowing with awakened energy, flexing stats that could level city blocks. Kale showed up in a plain jacket with a bruised apple in his pocket, and no record in the hunter registry. At all, the intake officer stared at his form for a long time. Civilian non-combatant, she read. No rank, no class, no registered skills. She looked up. Sir, this is a death game tower. The mortality rate for unawakened entrants is 100%, Kale said cheerfully. Read the pamphlet. He didn't get far. Duras found him at the gate. Duras Sesrank, leader of the Iron Vanguard, the top clearing guild in the country, had a face designed for looking down at things. He looked down at Kale the way a boot looks down at a beetle, plucked the entry permit from Kale's hand, held it up, and tore it in half in front of 200 watching hunters. Dead weight, Duras said, loud enough for everyone. This tower kills people. Go home. Laughter. The easy dismissive kind. The kind that follows you. Kale picked up the two halves of his permit, smiled his faint, unreadable smile, and walked back to the registration desk. Entry permits, it turned out, could be reissued if the original was damaged by a third party. Loophole. Small one. But Kale had always been good at finding those. He entered the spire 40 minutes after everyone else. The first floor was a standard monster corridor. Stone walls, low torchlight, hack of iron-ranked beasts that the S-rank teams had already annihilated on their way through. Kale walked the aftermath in silence. Bodies of monsters dissolving into light. Loot scattered, and mostly claimed, the usual picture. He stopped at the far wall. There was something wrong with the stonework. Not structurally, it looked fine, but the pattern of the bricks was slightly off. A sequence. Kale tilted his head. His whole life he'd been able to see sequences, in card games, in lock combinations, in the way crowds moved, in the particular rhythm of a con. He'd never awakened a single skill, but he'd never once lost a game he understood the rules of. Press the bricks in order. The wall opened, inside, a small chamber, untouched, glowing faintly. A floating panel materialized in front of him. Not a standard system window. Different font, different energy. Game Master System. Observer detected. Welcome, Kel. You are the first player to find the hidden layer. The Obsidian Spire is a game. It has always been a game. Rules, visible to all. Hidden rules, visible only to you. Current bonus, plus unlocked cached 3, floor 1 complete. Hidden clear bonus, times 10 EXP multiplier applied. Kale stared at the panel for a long moment. Then he laughed, quiet, genuine, and took a bite of his apple. The Obsidian Spire had been built a century ago by a dungeon architect who was, by all surviving accounts, obsessed with games. The public mechanics were brutal and straightforward. Fight through the floor, kill the boss, advance. But underneath them, invisible to anyone who treated the tower as a combat trial rather than a designed experience, was a second layer. Hidden rooms, optional objectives, pattern locks, environmental puzzles. Easter eggs baked into the architecture of every single floor. No hunter had ever found them, because no hunter had ever thought to look. They were all too busy being powerful. Kale was not powerful. Kale had nothing but time and attention. Floor 10, his hidden cash count was at 47. His stats undetectable by outside scanners, because they existed in a sublayer the registry didn't have a category for, had climbed past the threshold for what should have been possible for an unawakened civilian. The Game Master System didn't use standard classes. It used something older, something the tower's architect had called, in his notes, the architect's blessing. It rewarded lateral thinking, rule exploitation, the willingness to see the designed thing inside the dangerous thing. Every monster Kale couldn't fight directly. He trapped, redirected, or convinced to fight something else. The tower's hidden mechanics include faction flags, aggro direct switches, and environmental kill zones that the system rewarded as clean clears. He picked up 2 companions in the mid-floors, a teenage healer named Sora who'd been abandoned by her party on floor 18, and an old man called Ben who'd entered the spire as a non-combatant surveyor and had been hiding in a storage room on floor 22 for 3 days. Neither of them was impressive. Both of them did exactly what Kale asked without needing it explained twice. The Iron Vanguard heard about him somewhere, around floor 35. Word traveled in the spire through the interfloor communication relays. A civilian, No rank on record, somehow ahead of three S-ranked teams. Duras dismissed it. Probably a glitch in the relay. Probably someone lying about their floor number to mess with the leaderboard. At floor 40, the Iron Vanguard hit the wall. The 40th floor boss, the Shattered Colossus, had a mechanic no fighter brain team, had cracked in 6 previous spire openings. It reset to full health every time it was damaged past 50%. Cycling through a defensive matrix that made brute force non-viable. Every top guild that had ever entered the spire had stalled here. The Vanguard had been throwing themselves at the Colossus for 16 hours. KL had cleared floor 40 in 11 minutes. The Colossus had a reset timer. The defensive matrix had a visual tell. A particular flicker in its left shoulder joint, 2 seconds before activation. The floor had 4 pressure plates arranged in a specific sequence that, when triggered, locked the matrix permanently. None of this was in the official tower documentation. All of it was in the hidden layer. KL didn't even take damage. Floor 40, hidden mechanic clear. Game Master bonus. Title unlocked, the one who reads, passive. All hidden layer content visibility increased by 100%. All stats multiplied by current floor number as a permanent coefficient. By the time that notification appeared, KL was already on the stairs to floor 41. The leaderboard, visible on the spire's external display screens to the crowd gathered outside, updated every 6 hours. When it refreshed at hour 42 of the spire's opening, the name at the top of the solo entrant column, a column that had been empty for the entire history of Obsidian Spire runs, read, Kale, floor 79, uncombatant designation, no registered class. The crowd outside went quiet. Inside the spire, Duras saw it on a relay screen. His hands, for the first time in his career, went a little cold. He found Kale on the transit bridge between floor 79 and 80. The one place in the spire where teams from different floors could briefly cross paths, through the bridge's spatial fold mechanic. Duras came through with 6 of his best. He stopped when he saw Kale. Plain jacket, same bruised apple energy, Sora and Ben flanking him quietly. The leaderboard tag floating above Kale's head in the spire's HUD read, floor 79 clear, hidden completion rate, 100%. Duras had a 67% completion rate. He hadn't known there was a hidden completion rate. I need to talk to you, Duras said. Sure, Kale said. We're stuck. The words came out stiff, like they'd had to fight their way through something to get out. The Colossus on 40, we can't. You're on floor 40, Kale said, not mockingly. Just noting it. If you tell me the mechanic, I'm on floor 79. Kale tilted his head, the same way he'd tilted it at that first wall on floor 1. You tore up my entry permit. Duras's jaw tightened. I can make it worth your while. The Vanguard has resources, connections. So do I now, actually. Kale glanced up at the leaderboard display, embedded in the bridge ceiling. His name, his floor, is 100%. I'm going to go finish the spire. You can wait on 40 as long as you need. He smiled, the faint, permanent one. Good luck with the Colossus. He walked past. Sora and Ben followed without a word. Duras stood on the bridge and watched them go and said nothing, because there was nothing to say. Floor 100, the spire's crown, had never been reached. The final boss was listed in the tower's public documentation as the Architect's Echo. No further details given. Every hunter who'd ever discussed it assumed it was an overwhelmingly powerful combat entity. It wasn't. It was a room. A single room with a chair, a table, and a puzzle box of extraordinary complexity. Layered logic locks, pattern sequences 12 levels deep, combination of every hidden mechanic the spire had deployed across its 99 floors. A note on the table, in the handwriting of the tower's original architect, read, for the one who understood that this was always a game. Kale sat down. He opened the box in just under 4 minutes. Game Master System, Obsidian Spire complete first clear, Kale. Hidden completion rate, 100%. Final title unlocked, Architect's Hair. All hidden layer caches converted to permanent stat crystallization. Power output, unrankable by current registry parameters. The Spire recognizes its master. Congratulations. The leaderboard went blank for 3 seconds. Then it rewrote itself. The crowd that had gathered, hunters, officials, journalists, the families of entrants still inside, stared at a name they didn't recognize attached to a designation that had never appeared on any towers. Completion board. Civilian. Floor 100, first clear, hidden rate, 100-100. The Iron Vanguard cleared floor 40, 2 days later, after someone leaked the pressure plate sequence in a forum post. Duras never said who told them. He didn't know who told them. The post was anonymous. Kale didn't post it. He didn't need to. He was already gone. Registered with a new designation, the registry had to create a brand new category for fielding invitations from every organization on the continent, sipping tea in a quiet apartment with Sora and Ben, while the hunters who'd laughed at a civilian with a bruised apple were still explaining to anyone who'd listen that they hadn't really been stuck, they'd just been challenged. Strategizing. The tower had always been a game. He'd been the only one who knew how to play it.